Hi, Eddie. This is Alka Madan from Global Women Power, and we welcome you to our platform, Meet Our Sheroes, in which we invite women of eminence, persistence, resilience, those who have made it so far, and we listen to them firsthand. And there are many before you have joined us and shared their words of wisdom and the practicality of the journey.
Yeah,
So the way we You're welcome. So the way we run it is, just take us along on the journey where you are now and from where you have been coming and where you will be going.
okay.
So over to you.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. Hi there.
Welcome.
Hello there, Juliana.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good. So just answering the question about the background and where we've been and where we're going. So I started a company called Auntie Dolores in 2008 in San Francisco, California. It's a medical cannabis edibles company. We
Mm,
specialized in healthy edibles for cannabis patients that didn't want to consume a lot of sugar.
mm,
Many of the patients using our products were diabetics and cancer patients, so people that want to stay away from sugar. So we became famous for savory edibles, cannabis edibles. And then we became familiar with CBD in 2010, and I really wanted to experiment on pets and animals because it's non-psychoactive and it has an amazing affinity for joint inflammation and anxiety and seizures and all the things that many pets suffer from. So we started researching with CBD and pets, and then I launched the second brand, Treatables, which is the CBD pet company, in 2013. And so we just celebrated the 10-year anniversary of Treatables and the 15-year anniversary of Auntie Dolores. So we've really been in business for 15 years, but more focused in the last 10 years on the pet CBD space because we're able to
mm,
actually sell those products across the country, and we also sell them in Japan.
mm. How come of all the countries you picked up Japan?
Yeah, and that was just a really interesting development because the distributors that we work with in Japan, they came to a trade show about 5 years ago here in the States, and they brought back many CBD pet products back to Japan to research them. So we were competing against some other brands, and they came back and chose us. So that was exciting. And the Japanese customer is not the easiest customer. They have a very high standard. So we're excited that the products are doing well there. There's Japan is becoming more educated on CBD, but like many countries, there's a little bit of a delay on the information and education. So we have to translate the documents so that we can educate the Japanese customers as well.
Mm. So when you address yourself as we, what is the business structure
Well,
and
I'm
who all
the
are involved?
yeah, I'm the majority owner. There's actually 22 investors involved in this business. We did a money raise about 10 years ago in a network that was a network of cannabis investors. So that's how all these people became involved in the business. But our team is actually quite small. There's only a dozen of us on staff. So we've got a pretty small team, and we outsource our production. We used to actually have a kitchen and produce all of our own products, and then we realized that we could really scale up better if we brought in contract manufacturers. So we've been working with contract manufacturers for about 7 years now. So, and that's where we outsource the manufacturing to these contract manufacturer partners, and then we have a fulfillment center where all the product goes to, and then it gets distributed from there. Uh, we're really focused on the pet space, as I said. So most of our customers are pet stores, but we also sell our product directly to customers on our website. We've got some CBD shops that carry our product, but it's mostly pet stores and just pet parents in general.
Mm. So what is your role in this story?
Well, I'm the founder and the CEO, and we're a really creative group. Because we're such a small team, everybody wears multiple hats, and I'm really focused on product development, compliance, and just kind of the day-to-day operations. But I do have other people that fill, some of these roles as well. Obviously, we're a remote company, so everybody's working from home, and we're meeting on Zoom multiple times a day. Uh, but we're really essentially a virtual company.
The reason I asked this question is that when you say you are the founder, so that means you came up with the idea, many years ago,
Yeah, and the
right?
recipe.
So when and the recipe also. And at that time, what kept you motivated? Because CBD still needs lots of awareness. People need to be educated in it, and there is still some taboo around it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you started as a founder, like from where did this idea come, and then how did you mature it? That is a little
Yeah.
bit of story will help us.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about the cannabis and the hemp space is it's changing all the time. So I found that, now that we've been at this for a decade and a half, the best skill we have is adaptation, really. So we've had to adapt over the times. In fact, the pivot that we made from doing human THC products over to pet CBD products was another adaptation in the market, because it was actually becoming very difficult to continue with the THC products because of the regulations and the stigma. And we were also limited to only selling those in California. I wanted a national brand, but we couldn't sell those products out of state. So when the hemp laws changed, whereby we had a farm bill that passed here in the States back in 2014, and then there was another farm bill that passed in 2018, and both of those bills had language that allowed for the interstate commerce of hemp products. So really, again, the regulatory framework changing over time, it opened up an opportunity that we didn't have before. And so that's when we pivoted to the pet CBD space, and we're able to start selling our products not only to all the 50 states in the US, but abroad as well. And that's when we were able to start looking at international business. So really the regulations tend to shape what we can and cannot do. And then we tend to look for the path of least resistance and just go there, because there's so many obstacles and challenges when you're dealing with cannabis. I mean, even though God gave us these plants, we still have to fight the authorities to liberate this plant.
Because I am in touch with a person who raised lots of money to get into this area
Yeah.
of cannabis production and selling. They just closed down.
Oh,
And he said he couldn't adapt to the changing conditions. And if he follows the complete standard route, he said it wasn't working out for them.
yep.
So they took their losses and then they shut it down.
I understand that, because if we didn't have treatables to pivot to 10 years ago, we would have probably not made it in California, because the regulatory framework has become so restrictive and counterintuitive. So very grateful that treatables became an opportunity, because obviously you always want to grow a brand as much as you can, and when there's those types of limitations on something like that, it really strangles you.
Right.
um,
So I have a question, when you are in the business world, one doesn't think like a woman, one just thinks like a person, it's you are in the right.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so funny, because the cannabis industry was totally male dominated when I got into it. And of course there's women that I met along the way, but we were, women that were CEOs and founders in the cannabis space are a rare breed, so uh, for many years a lot of filmmakers and different people wanted to really prop up the opportunity for for women, and it's true, there was a lot of opportunity there, but it is a male dominated industry. And, at the end of the day, I've had more men help me than women just because there's more men in the industry. So I don't really look at it like, it's male versus female. I just look at it like the believers and the non-believers. Either believe in cannabis and hemp or you don't.
So one more question for our viewers and listeners is that, when you start a business, what are the essential ingredients one should have?
Tenacity is the number one, because any business, no matter what industry you're in, is going to have incredible challenges, and not only challenges to your business, but also to your personal growth. Because I've found that business has a way of forcing us to be the best people we can be. Because, if you make a mistake in business, it can be magnified much bigger than if you make a mistake in personal life, right? So you really have to be very cognitive of the decisions you make and the outcome that they're going to produce, right? And then there's, just managing a staff is a very challenging thing. So, there's been a lot of personal growth for me, just learning how to manage people. That's something that didn't come naturally to me. So you've got to learn stuff that's not really natural to you, because you're trying to promote this brand or this passion that you had that's very dear to your heart. But, if you start a business, you can't just be good at one thing. You have to be good at many, many things. And if you're not good at everything, you got to get good at it. If you don't like math, you got to learn to like math to do business, right? It's kind of like that. So I've had to learn a lot of stuff. I didn't go to college. I mean, so I went to one year of college. So I learned business by being a business bookkeeper, and then taking what I learned as a bookkeeper and then making a lot of mistakes in my own business and learning from those mistakes. It's just, mistakes are a great teacher.
Mistakes, our staff, our clients, everybody is a teacher, They teach
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So do you write your experiences, any blogging or any such thing?
I wish I had time to do more of that. We have writers that work for us and write our blogs, but I haven't written a lot of personal stuff as far as my experience. I probably should, but I just haven't had time.
So like everybody has an exit plan from their business. Do you also think that way?
Yeah, and my exit plan's pretty vague, just because it's really dependent on where this industry goes, and that's a big question mark. I think if the future holds a clear path to, full legalization without all the red tape, that's going to create one trajectory. And then if it doesn't go that way, that's going to create another, so it's hard to plan certain things just because of the way that this particular market is operating and how it's changing and morphing over time. And there's just so many factors involved with that. So I don't really have a clear path for exit. I just love this brand and I love this industry. So I want to cultivate it as long as I possibly can and keep it going.
I attended one of the convention in that the person who came, he started Starbucks.
Oh, wow.
And, he said, the first thing I want to tell you is never fall in love with your business.
Yeah, because you want to be able to walk away when the time's right too, right?
Yes, yes. That was the first time I learned from it. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that jogged my memory, because I think that same CEO might have made the statement, when you're a really small company, you've got to act like you're really big. And when you're a really big company, you got to act like you're kind of small, right? So you can connect with the people again. I don't know if that's the same person but that stuck with me.
Mm.
And yeah, you're right. It's not good to get too attached, because if you have to make
Mm.
those changes and exit, then it's kind of like moving into a new house. Like, I
Right.
love the house I'm in now, but
Mm.
I don't want to get too attached to this house because I might want to move someday, and
Mm.
that next house might be better, which
Mm.
is kind of like you have to be willing to make room for something better to come along, so that you don't paint yourself into a corner, So I try to keep a real open mind, because there's so many different possibilities that could manifest.
And there's another dilemma which any woman, goes through, whether to remain in their 9 to 5 jobs or to switch from 9 to 5 jobs to start their own businesses.
Yeah.
And do you think, is there any age to get in the business world, or any time person can switch from being 9 to 5 to the business world? What do you think? What is the message for people?
Best time to do that is when you've got the inspiration to do it. It doesn't matter what age you are, because great businesses start from great ideas, and those great ideas, the ones that succeed, are usually the ones that there's nothing else like it in the industry already, or it creates it satisfies a need that humanity has, or whatever that might be. So for me, I'm a great example of this. I had no idea I was going to start this business at the age of 36, 37, or whatever, and it was simply because we were in the middle of an economic downturn of 2008, and this opportunity presented itself. I
Mm.
may not have been able to go after that plan or that idea or that passion had all of the elements fallen into place the way that they did. So my feeling about starting a business is, do it when the timing's right, when you really get inspired to do it and everything is lining up the way it should in order for that to succeed. Because you really need help from God and from the universe. You can't just like
Mm.
take on this huge undertaking of creating a new brand that's going to change the way people care for their pets, or I mean, it's
Mm.
just a huge, huge thing. So you really have to like put as much of that good energy behind that idea, and then also notice if this is the best time for that idea to be, you know, to come into fruition. It might not be the best time, but why force it if it's not the best time?
Mm.
I like to look at what's going on out in the world and see, okay, what's going to work here? How can we be successful? Is this going to be something that's going to be, we're going to get help along the way? Is it going to be easy to do, or is it going to just be a nothing but a bunch of headaches? So those are some of the things I like to look at too, to see.
And can you switch off and on your machinery? Or it always keeps thinking about the business.
I had to learn to do that, actually. I've never had anybody ask me that question, and it's actually a really great question, because when you're in it, I mean, it's almost like every minute of the day, even when you're asleep, you're thinking about it. But at some point, you have to be able to turn it off and focus on other stuff. So I didn't really learn that skill until probably 2 or 3 years ago. So I spent a good 12, 13 years feeling like I was on a hamster trail, just constantly, running, and just like running and getting nowhere. But then you do.
Right.
But it is, yeah, there's a lot of that happens. So you have to like really step back and go, okay, this is not good for my health, actually, to be working 16 hours a day. So
So in the last year, in the month of November to December, I took sabbatical.
mm,
I made everybody known that I'm on sabbatical. And I'm telling you, I saw my body not listening to me. It is telling me, okay, run, go, 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 get up. I say, no, I'm not getting up. The whole fight was with myself, the whole 1 month.
yeah,
And I dissolved many boundaries of 5 days. This is Friday, and then wanted everything to merge, because there's so much of programming we live with. You don't even know that you are just a well programmed being going around.
yes.
Yeah. So it's good that you have also learned. I think it was the right time.
Yeah. I wish I learned it sooner, but what are you gonna do? You learn stuff when you learn stuff, you know. I had an
Yeah.
acupuncturist in California that I used to work for many years ago. I went back to get treatment about 5 years ago, and he said, you know, what you do in your 40s dictates the rest of your life and the
Mm.
health that you're going to be able to
Mm.
maintain. So you really got to make sure that you get your health mentally, physically, spiritually, get it in order in your 40s so
Mm.
that the rest of your life is as best as it can be.
Good. So, what is the creative side of your hobbies, the artist in you? Share something about that with us.
Yeah, well, our brand is very visual, and so it's always fun when it comes time to, design packaging or do product development. Those are the things that I really love to do. It's also very technical too, so it's kind of like creative and technical at the same time, which I really like. I like to use both sides of my brain, but yeah, that's probably the most creative work that I get to do with this particular brand. Or, we go to trade shows and we get to set up our displays and everything. That's really creative and fun as well. Creating all of our materials, sales materials with our designers and just conceptualizing all of that is a lot of fun and very creative. I
Do
don't
you
have
know
to,
that? Yes.
I was just going to say, I don't have to we don't release a lot of new products every year like we used to when we were first starting out. So I haven't done as much product development as I used to, but I really love doing product development.
Do you know that you have $1 million smile?
Thank you. I've got a lot of teeth. I've got all my wisdom teeth in here. It's like, luckily they all fit and they didn't give me pain coming in, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nancy, do you have any question?
Yeah, you remind me of someone who owned a butter making business, and they had all this whey they were wasting, and then they decided, let's come up with something. So they invented a cleaning product with it, and it ended up being a super, super famous company, like Borax or something. I don't remember.
Oh,
But do
nice.
you have any? Do you have any plans on um, coming up with something to treat cattle? Because that's a whole new industry.
Absolutely.
Farm
Well,
animal.
any of our products could actually be used for any animal.
Mm.
Back to the regulations and the limitations, we can't actually market to pets, or we can't market to animals that are not pets. So we really can only market legally to cats, dogs, and horses. And even in
Mm.
horses,
Oh,
we have limitations. So now that being said,
yeah.
though, all animals have an endocannabinoid system and they have the receptors, so they will respond to it. We had a grizzly bear up in Oregon for many years was using our product. He was 600 pounds and he was using our capsules, taking about 300 milligrams a day. Because when he came out of hibernation, he couldn't walk. His hind legs were very arthritic. So they started giving him our product and he was running around like a bear cub. And then he lived for another few years, which was really exciting. So, yeah, all animals do have receptors and will respond. It's just a matter of trial and error with the dosage. Because, we've got horses that are 1,200 pounds that respond to 25 milligrams. But then we had a 600-pound bear that needed 300 milligrams. So, I mean, you kind of don't know when you're getting into treating certain animals how much is going to be needed for them to feel better.
Mm.
And it doesn't work unless you get the proper potency into that animal.
Mm.
So that was an eye.
I bet you wish you were where I bet you wish right now you were where I am in India, in Punjab. I'm in this remote, very remote organic farm,
Oh,
but all over the place, the marijuana grows wild, tons of it.
wow. I heard about that because my brother goes to India every year and he was telling me about that. That sounds amazing.
Is
Are
it
the
legal over there?
Is it what?
Is it legal, Nancy, over there?
Not to use, but to grow it. I mean, it's the thing about cannabis is I think there's usually one gender only, and you have to manually make it the other gender to get the uh, not toxins, the chemicals out of it that actually work. Am I right?
Yeah. The male plants, yeah, they don't produce what's needed. It's the female plants, and then you have to make sure that, they all stay female. So,
Yeah. So the males are they're smaller leaves. But
yeah,
I think the males you can actually eat them
yeah, you can eat.
without getting any kind of reaction to it.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Well, the network of ours, we do promote, people can open their own businesses. If you want, to open in other countries,
Hmm.
and if you look for people, those who can join you and open doors for your business, so
Yeah.
you can let us know, and then we can start from small. Maybe, we are mostly targeting Indian women, no, women in particular.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So somebody shared with me a program which government is running in India.
Hmm.
Is they are training 20,000 women in beekeeping.
Oh, wow.
So similarly, your products also we can promote because they want to upskill women so that they can earn their livelihood.
Nice.
And labor is pretty cheap over there.
Uh-huh.
And then, if you create employment for them, Indian government will invite you over and honor you.
Wow. Nice. But is CBD legal in India?
So that we can find out, like maybe production and what you need,
Mm-hmm.
if they can make it, and then you can market it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I look at it,
Yeah, we got our products into Japan, and that was an 18-month process just to get the products approved. So I feel like if we could get the products approved for Japan, we could hopefully get them approved anywhere else as long as there's, regulations in
Right.
place.
Israel, the Israeli scientists, they have a product. They take out the chemical. I forgot what it's called. That makes you,
THC?
they're
Yeah.
able to do that, and it still has the healing properties.
Yep, that's right. Well, in Israel, there's been more research into cannabis in Israel because of Raphael Meshulam. And now he's passed, but when he was alive, he did more research than anybody else. So, and Israel has a lot of great stuff happening with CBD and cannabis in general. I mean, they even give it to, senior citizens in retirement facilities because it's just so great for seniors too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for sharing the insight of your business and your personality, what it needs to run a business like this and operate in male-dominated world and then keep expanding more and more countries. So we will be in touch with you. We will present this video also to you so that you can share it with wherever you want to.
Nice.
And also we will connect you with other people, those who want to start their own business, and how they can be in touch with you and the production facility also, if
Yeah, sounds
possible.
great. Okay. Appreciate that. It's nice
Thank you
talking
so
with
much,
you.
Juliana.
Absolutely. Thank you. I look forward to
Yeah,
sharing the link when we get that from you.
we will. Thank you.
All right.
All
Take
the
care.
best to you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.